Joe and Hampton, lights dim, it's game time. Interview sharp, cut through like a shank line. Stick Lounge.
All right, Stick Lounge Podcast coming to you guys with a quick one. We've got Miss Teen Olympics in the house.
Hello.
Well, we meant to catch you at the Bayside Ball, but it didn't happen, and that was my fault. I had to break down. The equipment was getting hot. Things were starting to not work for me. We barely made it out of there. It worked, though. It worked.
Barely, but we did it.
We did it. We pulled it off. And you were there, so were you a volunteer for the day? You were seating people?
Was.
Or
Yes, I was at the check-in and making sure everybody got to the right tables and
Nice.
just like in the area.
In the area.
Yeah.
Very cool. How'd you get tied into that?
So Casey actually was like, hey, we need a couple volunteers. Are you able to do this? I was like, yeah, absolutely. And Pierre was there as well. And so
He's the one that directed me to you. Like, you got
Yes.
to talk to her. You got to talk to her. And I was like, okay, we're gonna bring her in the studio. So
Yeah, no, he texted me. He got my number from Casey, and we worked everything out, and it was so much fun. I loved being there. It was great.
awesome, good deal.
Yeah.
Get just a little bit closer to your mic.
I'll pull it to you. When
Yeah,
Hello.
there you go. They're made for just what we're doing, so you want to be right on it.
Got it. This is so fun and exciting. I've never been on a podcast, so
Welcome.
Yeah,
thank
yeah.
you.
Us either. So
No, we've never done this before, so it's everybody first try.
flying by the seat of our pants.
Let's do this.
So it is Miss Teen Olympics, correct?
Correct.
Okay, now real quick, because we just went over this and I learned a lot. Miss Teen Olympics is like the Olympic mountain range here.
Yes,
Because I was
correct.
like, the games, the Olympics, I was very confused. So
I have a lot of people come up to me and ask me like if I've actually been in the Olympics, and I'm like, no, it just
Yes.
like it refers to the mountains.
that makes much more sense. Like I
Yeah.
said, Arizona background, we got a New Orleans, Louisiana boy over here.
Yeah,
So
yeah, for sure.
we're learning as we go.
We got this.
So how long have you been Miss Teen Olympics?
I have been Miss Olympics teen.
Miss Olympics
for-
Teen, sorry.
No, you're good. For just about, I think I got my title in February.
Okay, so
So-
fairly new still.
It's very, very new.
Okay,
I'm
okay.
very new to the pageant world. I competed in Miss Auburn around the January time frame, and now I'm heading to Miss Washington, and everything's so
Very cool.
fast paced,
Yeah.
and so being in the pageant world is very different than being in the dancer world. I have been dancing since I was 3 years old, and so it's very, very different.
Yeah.
But I love it. It's so
Okay.
much fun.
So what type of dancing did you do?
I'm kind of everywhere. So I'm a competitive dancer, but I'm also at a ballet-based studio. So I take lots of ballet classes, but I do ballet, tap, jazz, lyrical, acro, contemporary, modern. I've
Very cool.
done like specialty classes. So I'll go to like intensives and stuff like that where I do like Bollywood or house
Wow.
or funk jazz and stuff like that. So
That's pretty cool.
kind of babbled in everywhere.
Out
Yeah.
of the whole list, I just knew 3.
Yeah, right. I'm the 8th grade dancer. Like,
You got it. You got it. Yeah.
just move around a little bit.
Yeah.
He's making fun of me because at Creole down the other night, he's got the bar downstairs, and this lady pulled me onto the dance floor. And I was like, oh boy, here we go.
I know.
Break out the cameras.
He's laughing at me. My daughter's laughing at me. Maybe I could get some lessons from you sometime.
I mean, I do teach dance, so
right,
yeah.
So you're going into, I guess, is it compete
Yeah.
for Miss Washington?
Yes.
So you will be 18 at the time?
So Miss Washington's teen is like
Oh, is it teen?
It's teen.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
That's where I wasn't sure.
So the age gap area is like 13 to 18.
Okay.
And then it will be like 19 to I believe 26 is
Okay.
the Miss Washington. So
Gotcha.
the teens is a very large age gap, and then the Miss is a very large age gap as well. So it kind of varies all over the place.
All right.
But yeah.
And this is the first Miss Olympics teen is the first title you've held so far?
Correct.
All right. So exciting stuff.
I know.
How long were you competing prior to actually winning a crown?
Just like 1 month.
That was it.
Yeah.
Man, girl, you got to get used to a little bit of rejection. It's gonna be tough.
I know.
It's gonna be tough.
I know.
You got that. You got that swag right now.
I know. Luckily with dance, I have a little bit of that
That's good.
rejection, which
Yep.
is nice. I've held like competitive dance titles, which is very, very different. So, as a soloist, you can compete for like a title.
Okay.
And so like I've been Miss Fly Seattle. So there's like
Oh.
a competition called Fly.
Okay.
And so then you'll compete for that against other dancers. And then maybe you'll answer questions or you do like another section of the competition. And then you will win that title. So I have a couple of those.
Nice.
And they'll just like be Seattle and that it's only just like for an award and just stuff like that.
The Miss Olympics team, that is statewide though, correct?
Correct.
And obviously Washington, statewide.
Correct, yes.
Nice. You know what I thought of when she said fly?
No.
No, come on, man. Fly girls.
Oh.
In Living Color?
In Living Color.
J-Lo, right? J-Lo was a fly girl.
Yeah, J-Lo. And also, what's her name?
I don't know. I just remember J-Lo.
No, the girl.
I was pretty young.
She sang the song Strat Cat.
Paula Abdul. Yeah, Paula Abdul. She was a fly girl?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
I
she
didn't
was
know.
dancing on.
Learn something every day.
I think I'm too young for the Fly Girls.
Yeah, you probably don't remember In Living Color.
No.
That was the it back in the day, man. I used to love In Living Color. Okay, anyways. We go on tangents occasionally.
I
Don't worry
see.
about
It's
it.
all good.
So, question.
Yep.
What made you get involved, decide to do this, go down this road?
Yes. Okay. So with being a dancer, you just like dance many hours a week. And with that, I developed very severe shin splints. And so I had to step back from dance just for a little bit. So I had about like a month or so where I wasn't doing as much dancing as I normally would. And my coach, Amanda Pantano, came up to me and she was like, hey, I think you'd be wonderful for pageants. She was previously Miss Auburn and Miss Auburn's teen as well. And she's like, you have a talent. You are very good with kids. You're very personable. And I think you'd be great for this. So I was like, okay, let's do this. Because I needed something to do with my free time. We went through the whole process of signing up, doing all the documents and everything. And she coached me through everything and helped me a lot of Starbucks dates and in the studio a lot. Just like getting into what being a pageant girl is like. And then I competed for that. And then now I was a third runner-up. And so then you kind of like, when you're a runner-up, you can get an open title.
You were telling me a little bit about that. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So I was third runner-up at Miss Auburn, which was so cool because for my first pageant ever, it was like unreal. I was very blessed to be able to walk into that and win third runner-up. It was very nice. And I also was awarded a different amounts of like scholarship money from other things. Like I won top ad sales and I was People's Choice and just like other things like that. A
lot of self-promoting, a lot of getting yourself out there.
Absolutely. And so then with that, an open title came into a conversation with another pageant girl and she was like, hey, you would be great for an open title because you would go to state and you still have like the service initiative and everything like that. And so then I contacted the Washington State director and she's like, this would be great for you. Let's do it. So I then again signed all the paperwork and here I am.
Busy.
Yeah.
You know
seriously.
it. Yeah.
Okay. So you, when we were talking out there, you said you have an organization or a cause that you're working for, correct?
Yes, I do.
You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes, of course. So my CSI, which is a community service initiative, is called Endometriosis Warrior, Turning Pain into Purpose.
Endometriosis.
Yes.
You say that real fast, so I wanted to...
Sorry. Yeah.
No, it's okay.
At least you can say it.
Yeah.
I know.
Can you say it? Try
No.
to say it. Let's just try it one time.
What was it again?
Endometriosis.
Endometriosis.
There you go, bro. That's
Yeah.
good. Look, wait.
Endometriosis.
Oh, wow.
I know.
We were trying to get him to say Asiago yesterday.
And it's a root,
Yeah, also that was a little bit hard. Yeah. See, when you have a last name like Drazkowski, you get used to it.
That's true.
Yeah.
Okay, so talk about your cause. Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're all good. So endometriosis, for anybody who doesn't know what it is when your body produces too many female hormones, meaning estrogen.
Okay.
So when it first develops its first menstrual cycle and those estrogens are released, your body grows a lining of tissue that is very similar to the lining in your uterus. But instead of growing inside the uterus, it grows outside of the uterus.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So this tissue can grow anywhere in the body. It has been found on every single major organ, including the lungs and brain.
Wow.
Luckily, mine is not in those severe places. Mine is in my large colon, my kidney, my bowel.
Wow.
By my uterus. It's not like on my uterus, but it's in like that general facility. So I first started developing my symptoms when I had my first menstrual cycle, was at the age of 11. Already it was very, very severe. My first ever period lasted 2 weeks long, which is very uncommon for women. And so that was kind of concerning, but we just kind of was like, oh, it's kind of runs in my family. Like, it's probably just like whatever.
Yeah.
And so we kind of just like moved past it, ignored it. I started having very bad, severe cramps. It started impacting like my daily life. And I was like, this is still, it's very uncomfortable. It's hard to live with it. I saw an OBGYN and she's just like, okay, let's just put you on the pill. We're just going to try to suppress those symptoms.
Yeah.
So I was
pretty common nowadays, right?
Absolutely.
I have three daughters, so I'm somewhat familiar. Yeah.
So I was on that for a while. All of my symptoms were still there. The birth control didn't even touch it. Then when I was around the age of 14, my pain started getting not just during my period. It was now every single day. It just started to get worse and worse and worse. I couldn't walk. It was hard to breathe. I was starting to hurt my school life, my social life, my dance life, and everything. And it was just becoming just so controlling.
Yeah, a little overbearing, right?
Absolutely.
Trying to deal with that, and then just the daily
absolutely
stuff, whatever
and
that may be.
As an active teen girl, like, it's very hard to deal with this chronic pain that it can get up to like a level 10. It was just unbelievable. And so
is endometriosis, is it something that's typically diagnosed younger, or can it be diagnosed whenever?
No. So endometriosis is normally only diagnosed when you are around the age like 30, 40,
really?
is what I've heard people say.
Okay, so you were very young then.
I was very, very young.
That's
and
lucky.
so, yeah, I actually am very, very lucky. So it took me 2.5 years of going to the ER with absolutely
doctors not knowing what to look for.
Absolutely unbearable pain. It was so bad.
Right.
And I couldn't walk. I couldn't use the restroom. My mom had to like help me get out of the bed, help me use the restroom, help me shower, all of the things. And I would go in and out of the ERs and they would just tell me, oh, it's normal for a woman. This is just part of, being a girl. You'll get used to it. Oh, you're just sensitive.
Well, and I've found over several things that have happened in my life recently that there's some good doctors out there, and then there's some doctors that just check the boxes, you know, and it's harder and harder to find the good doctors, the ones that want to dig a little deeper and see what's going on.
Exactly.
And,
I can relate to somewhat what she said, not completely, but my daughter, when she was about 17, 18, she had a period every week. She was bleeding constantly.
Really?
And every time I called, she was at the ER.
Yes.
She like, they're checking me in, her blood pressure was low and everything like that. And she's like, I don't know. So I got a friend who was a gynecologist. She has, not sure what type of surgery she had, but it was like an MCO or something like that. I can't, think of it. It kind of reminded me of Florida, the initial.
Oh, yeah.
But they got it under control, but she was bleeding heavily every week. I couldn't believe it.
Not endometriosis, but something else.
No, something else.
Yeah. It's just, there's another thing that's connected to endometriosis, and I can talk to you a little bit more about that later, but there's tons of doctors out there that just dismiss patients with symptoms like these, which is why it took me 2.5 years to get diagnosed.
Right.
But when it comes...
Especially being younger, too.
Being younger. Yeah. And it was so hard because even in that much pain, you have to sit there and talk, and you still have to sit there and advocate for yourself, which was so difficult. And these doctors would come in and they would just kind of ignore me. And I'm just like, no, this is not right. Something is wrong. You know what I mean? And nobody's listening to me. And so I had multiple ultrasounds. I had an endoscopy done. They just noticed some scar tissue and they're just like, oh, you probably just have anxiety and you probably just have ulcers from your anxiety. And I was like, that's what my pain is? Are you being serious? Are we being serious?
You're anxious. Calm down.
I know. Yes, I got sent to a therapist one time. I'm not even joking. It was insane.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Well, and I think something you just said is advocating for yourself. That's huge. And a lot of people don't do that. I'm horrible with that. Whatever the doctor says, doc says, I'm good, man. I'm good. But yes, people need to advocate for themselves and push for that next test.
Yes.
Find the problems.
And so that's another part of my CSI, which is like my CSI is about endometriosis education and awareness. When it comes to education, it comes to educating teens and kids on how to advocate for themselves in the doctor's office or just in general. I believe that my generation is just lacking in that area a bit because we're nervous to speak to adults.
Well, and honestly, I mean, I noticed a huge change in my daughters through COVID.
Yeah.
You know, getting pulled out of school, having to wear masks, do all this stuff. Like they went into a shell, you know, and me and my wife and Hampton, I'll credit Hamp. Hamp really pulled my middle daughter out of her shell. She don't shut up now. Love you, Lil. She got attitude.
Serious attitude.
No, good for her though. Yeah. It's definitely really hard, especially for during COVID having to kind of like be isolated for so long and then expected to just go about life like normal.
Yeah.
Especially like I was in 6th grade when that happened. So
right.
I know.
How old are you?
I'm 16 now. I'm a junior.
Okay.
Yeah. So
what year were you in 6th grade, Hamp?
6th grade. Oh God, I can't. That's too much math.
Yeah. So it's definitely really hard to kind of advocate for yourself and stand up for yourself. But
my youngest daughter was born deaf.
Oh, wow.
And she has bilateral cochlear implants now.
Wow.
And that's the biggest thing that my wife and I pushed with her is you have to advocate for yourself. You know, don't feel different. Don't, you know what? And again, strong girl now.
Yeah.
I mean,
Absolutely.
she runs the room whenever she's in it.
Yes,
So.
good for her.
It was very important to tell her, you know, you gotta, if a teacher in the classroom is talking too quiet or talking too fast and you're not picking up what they're saying because you wear cochlear implants and you hear differently, you got to tell them. You know,
Yes,
it took years for her to get there, but she's there. She's good. So
Yeah, for sure.
Very
It definitely
important.
took me a while to get used to advocating for myself. But then I realized that if I wanted to be taken seriously, that's what I needed to do.
That's
so
great.
I put
That's
on my
great.
big girl panties.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And
Yeah.
I walked into that doctor's office and I told them multiple times that like something's not right. And the time that it really changed when advocating for myself is in, I think it was 2022 or 2021 when I went septic. 2023.
Mom's spectating off to the side.
Yes. In 2023, I was experiencing my pain again. But this time it was just something felt different. Something felt off about this time. And I was just like, something's not right.
Yeah.
I'm not okay. But we were just like, we were so used to going into the ER and being dismissed that we were just like, okay.
You almost give up, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
When is
You start to think it's in my head.
Yes.
I'm creating this problem.
When is the right time that I need to really go in, or when, you know, you just never know. When do I need to go into the hospital and when do I not?
Right.
So I had a feeling that like I should probably go in, we should probably do something, but I was just like, they're probably just going to send me away again, like they always do.
Another waste of time, another medical bill.
Exactly. Exactly. So
In there.
Yeah,
right.
I don't remember very well because I was in bed for 2 days. I was asleep for 2 days straight.
Wow.
I
Like
don't
sedated or just
just
exhausted?
tired, exhausted. I would roll over.
And this was at home still?
Yes, I was still at home during this time. And
Mom,
now knowing
you're off to the side. You had to have been worried. Yeah.
Mom was very, very worried.
Yeah.
My mom was like, what do I do? Dad's like,
Yeah, it's hard to.
it's like the normal thing. And
Yeah,
mom,
sure.
you know, mom's being mom, a little bit more worried than dad.
Right.
But yeah. So I, once again, was asleep for 2 days. I would roll over and then I would just like, it almost felt like I was passing out in a way. It's very hard to describe because I don't remember it very clearly.
Sure.
But then my mom took my temperature 2 days after and I was 104. So she's like,
Wow. Yeah,
this
that's
isn't
high.
right.
that's debt.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
not good.
So she took me into urgent care. Urgent care took my blood pressure, and I got sent straight to the ER. My blood pressure was very, very, very low. It was,
Because it's like an internal bleeding situation at that point, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So it was. Yeah, 70 over 30, about that area,
Wow.
which is my heart rate was high,
Right.
but my blood pressure was 70 over 30
Okay.
in that area. So we knew that something was wrong.
Yeah.
I got sent to the ER. They're worried about appendicitis because of my pain. We did another ultrasound. At this point, I'm like 100 ultrasounds.
And none of these tissues show up on the ultrasound.
No.
Right.
So we will get there, but in my story, the only way to get diagnosed with endometriosis at this moment is by an exploratory surgery.
Oh, wow. Really?
That is the only.
There's no imaging that they can do that shows it.
None.
Wow.
Yes.
That's crazy. With all the technology that we have, that's
Exactly.
crazy. Huh.
Exactly. So a little rant right now, but there's more
No, it's fun.
studies about bald men than there is women with endometriosis.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ham's pretty interesting.
Guilty. I'm just kidding.
He did that to himself, though.
I did that to myself.
Okay. I know. It's just unbelievable because endometriosis impacts approximately 1 in 10 women.
Really?
So in some countries it's 1 in 7, but in the US it's about 1 in 10.
Yeah.
So when it impacts that many women, and there's more studies about men and why they go bald versus endometriosis, it's just kind of crazy to me, but
No, I get it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the unfortunate thing is, I would venture to guess the reason why there's more studies about men going bald is because there's more area for private market to make money, right?
Absolutely.
To sell those topical, ointments and things like that.
Hair growth oil.
Exactly.
Yeah.
See
So-
those commercials? I have hair, and I still get those commercials on my feed. I don't know.
So I bought a wig.
That's right. Hair's got a wig.
Yeah.
Well, that's unfortunate. So you're pushing for a really good cause.
Yes, absolutely. And so when so I'm in the ER now. Go back to the story. And they did in the ultrasound. They're like, well, she's really low. We can't tell what's wrong with her. But we know that there's an infection in her bloodstream because of her labs, but we don't know what the infection is from. They've asked me like 1,000 times if I've had a tampon in, and I'm like, no. And they're like, well, it would have showed up in the CT scan anyways. I'm like, then why are you asking me?
Right.
But it was just, I don't remember much. I'm going to be completely honest. Just because I was so dazed and confused,
Yeah.
I was completely out of it. Looking back at photos, some of these photos I don't even remember. Like I have no clue where I was, what time it was, what day it was. I was completely out of it. And then my nurse friend who works at the hospital that I was at came down and she visited me and she's like, okay, she is septic. Like
That's what I was going to say. Sounds septic, yeah.
Yeah, I was in septic shock, which is the 3rd stage of septic. And that means that my organs are actively shutting down.
Right.
So
Scary stuff.
very, very scary. Like the doctors were telling my parents that they need to prepare themselves because at this point, I was in the ICU.
You'll be beating up some doctors at that point.
Yeah.
I'm like, what's your name?
Yeah.
your name?
No, because like I was put on pressors because, okay, so my male doctor did not want to put me on pressors, which are essentially giving you adrenaline to keep your heart pumping, to keep your blood flow going to those organs.
Okay.
And so my male doctor did not want to put me on these pressors. My nurse friend was like, we're going to put her on pressors no matter what. So, but
Was there a reason why they didn't want to put you on pressors?
they didn't want to put me in the ICU. When you're put on pressors, you automatically go to the ICU.
Man.
They just didn't want to They just didn't want to put me there.
That's some,
So
wait, hold on. That's some bull. You're 16, so I'll use a censor button.
no, it's okay. So it was definitely kind of crazy. But then normally patients only are on pressors for 12 hours. I was on pressors for 4 days.
Wow.
So every time they tried to wean me off the pressors, my blood pressure and my heart rate would drop, which is why they were telling my parents to prepare themselves, make the phone calls, do all the things, because I was not strong enough to keep my blood pressure up on my own.
On your own, yeah.
Luckily, I was able to make a huge comeback, and I was able to get my blood pressure up by myself. And so they slowly weaned me off the pressors. I was put into a residential room after the 4 days. Now, at this point, we're trying to figure out, why did I go septic? Why was I in the ICU for 4 days? What happened? Why was my body just shutting down? I've had this pain. We don't know why. Is it related to that? Was it related to something else? Let's figure out the cause of it. They did a ton of blood tests, blood work, stuff like that, ultrasounds, the whole shebang, and nothing was coming up besides like my levels were elevated or whatever.
Yeah.
Which says that there's just an infection. We don't know what kind, but there's just an infection. So now they're like, okay, well, the last thing we can do for you is a colonoscopy, but we'll just do that outpatient. And I was like, no thanks, I want it now.
Yeah.
If we do it outpatient, that's gonna be 2 months. I want my colonoscopy now. They're thinking that my mom is just telling me to say this. And so they made my mom leave the room, and they're like, do you really want this colonoscopy?
Could they even do that at your age?
Yeah, they could, because I was...
Would be punching doctors, just like I said.
Yeah.
That's consent.
Yeah.
Really?
So...
That's some bull.
State.
Yeah, right.
I told you about the state.
Yeah, so it was pretty crazy. And they're like, okay, so we, doing a colonoscopy is very scary. We have to do like a full empty out. And I was like, I've been constipated for so long.
Oh my God.
If I do this empty
Hamp's
out,
on pain meds. He's going through the same thing.
no,
right now.
I know. Because of my endometriosis tissue in my colon area, it causes major constipation. I was going like 2 weeks without having a bowel movement. It was unbelievable. You know what I'm going through. Yes. Taking the Tylenol, taking the sleep aid because I couldn't sleep because I was in so much pain. And so I was taking these like sleep aids. Little did I know that it was just causing more constipation.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So don't do that, actually.
Don't do that, Ham.
Don't do that. You
I've
need
cut
to.
back some.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. There's
I
like
actually had
other.
a bowel movement today. So
Congratulations,
Good,
bro.
Good job. I believe in you. You got this. I know. So I was just like, honestly, if you did a full like clean out, that would be like
Amazing.
yeah. Like please
Make you
sign
feel better,
me up.
probably.
Yes.
I got time to rebuild.
Yeah.
I know. Like please, I'm tired of the Miralax. Like
right.
I know they would prescribe me like 6 capfuls of Miralax. It was
Wow.
I know. And I was taking Linzest too. Are you on Linzest?
No. I want anything that makes my bowel move.
Yeah. So I was on Linzest and I was taking like 190 milligrams of Linzest, but it wasn't even touching my bowel movements. So
Wow.
they upped me to 290 and I had to take like 3 of those to get a bowel movement and like 7 caps of Miralax
That's
and
crazy.
a glass of apple juice.
Yeah, you see all these crazy commercials about constipation these days,
Yeah.
So it must be a big thing,
It's
.
I believe it is.
I believe it is too.
I've talked to a lot of people that have chronic constipation like I do.
I think it has a lot to do with the food we eat right now. And,
Absolutely.
And all the other drugs that everybody's on. You know,
Absolutely.
Most people are on something for something. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like,
For sure.
I mean, because the drug companies alone, just the commercials for different drugs is insane. I think we're the only country that does that, actually.
I was in the hospital for 2 days and
I
they
think
gave
so.
me some stuff to make my bowel move. I ain't moved, not one bit.
Yes. Yeah.
No.
Miralax and apple juice. That is my
apple
good.
juice.
You hate apple
It's
juice?
horrible.
Who hates apple juice?
I do. Give me some
It's
orange
sweet.
juice.
It's delicious.
Orange juice.
I love apples. Room temperature.
I don't think I've ever had anyone explain how warm their apple needs to be.
For them to enjoy it.
Yeah.
I got tricked the other day. My wife came home
Okay.
and she said, here, they gave me these strawberry cream cheese pies from Popeyes.
Okay.
I opened one up and bit into it. It was an apple pie. I spit it out.
You don't like apple pie?
No, it's horrible.
What are you saying? Oh my gosh.
He's a strange guy.
Absolutely.
Give me
Yeah.
a sweet potato pie. I'm good.
Yeah, well, man, sweet potato pie is good too.
I don't like sweet potatoes.
You don't
No?
like sweet potato? What's wrong with you?
What's wrong with you for not liking apple pie
Or apple juice.
or apple juice? Like, let's talk about that first.
Oh,
I'm just
gosh.
kidding.
Apple juice. Oh my God.
Hamp loves his favorite thing,
What?
watermelon with salt.
Watermelon with salt. Yeah.
He doesn't even drink water.
I don't drink water.
He just eats watermelon.
Okay, my dad doesn't drink water either.
No, and I just took a kidney test and they said, "Oh, your kidneys are great." And my wife was like,
What?
I said, she's like, "How is that possible?" I said, "I eat watermelon every other day." She said, "There it is. Watermelon is 99% water."
Yep. Yep.
Boom.
I see. Yeah. No, my dad gets his water intake from the ice cubes in his iced coffee.
Well,
So
there you go.
yeah.
As long as you get it.
Right?
So what was the status? Where we at now with your health?
Okay, so fast forward a bit, we kept advocating for myself. I talked to this OBGYN. He's like, you should check out endometriosis. This is the first time I've heard of it in like my 2.5 years of advocating for myself. And I'm like, what's endometriosis? I do some research and I'm like, this is absolutely what I have. I knew it in my gut. So my next step.
Mom off to the side. She's really doing all this on her own. Are you helping her? But she's.
I was there by your side.
Sure. You sound very driven, very responsible.
Thank
I'm
you.
very impressed.
She sounds
you
older
so
than
much.
16. I
Seriously,
tell you
that's
that.
what I was thinking.
Thank
That's
you.
why I had to say, how old are you again?
You know,
She
Very
sounds older.
impressed. Yeah.
my
Speak better than
brother,
me.
Right.
my brother Dayton, he's in the Coast Guard now, but he was an Eagle Scout. Well, he is an Eagle Scout. And so I went to a lot of like Boy Scout stuff, learned to talk to like all the other kids, the dads asking me questions.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah.
Okay.
That's
Gotcha.
good. Yeah, that's good.
Strong-willed, strong-headed.
The only
Yes.
thing I really had to advocate for her was for the doctors to actually listen to her.
Yes.
Sure,
Yes.
sure, yeah,
yes.
makes
The only
sense.
time my mom was advocating was just for them to listen to me.
Pay attention to what you're saying.
Absolutely,
Don't just
yeah.
dismiss it because you're young, right?
Yes. So I was doing all of this research, knew that this is what I had. My next step was now convincing a surgeon to perform an exploratory surgery on a very active 15-year-old girl that had danced nationals and was heading on a cruise. So it was a very quick kind of, I need this surgery, and then let's do it in a couple weeks, and then I'm going to be on vacation.
Now, is that like a laparoscopic or?
It was laparoscopic, yeah. So I walked into this
Can you say
surgeon.
laparoscopic?
Yeah, I had it. Listen,
I
go
like to tease him.
No, you're good. You're good.
I'm from the South, so my language is totally different.
You're
So,
good.
Yeah. So anyway, go ahead.
So I walked into this surgeon's office and I told her that I think that I have endometriosis, explained my whole journey with her. And she told me, whose foot is this?
Not mine.
Not mine.
Probably my mom's. Was it yours? Sorry.
It's not mine. I didn't feel anything.
You got the longest leg, so I thought it was
My
yours.
leg must be
Your
numb.
leg, your leg's over there, bro.
It must be still numb from the knee surgery.
Sorry. Okay, off
Talk to
topic,
the
off
doctor
topic.
about that one. It kind of feel like electricity running through it. Go ahead.
Okay, so
Quit
I
playing
walked into
footsies.
this. It's fun.
Stick Lounge podcast, everybody.
Oh, this is fun.
Tell your story and leave my leg alone.
Even when we're talking about endometriosis, we can have a good time.
Okay, now say laparoscopic.
yes.
Laparoscopic. Let's go.
Woo,
Go
okay.
with it.
I walked in the surgeon's office. I told her that this is what I have, go through the journey, the whole shebang. She tells me, you're too young to have endometriosis.
Of course.
I tell her that if you don't do this surgery, I'm going to find another surgeon who will.
Okay.
So she's like, I guess I have to do the surgery. So she does the surgery, and I wake up, and I was already so filled with nerves that I'm going to go through all of this, and I'm going to be wrong again.
Yeah.
We already thought that it was so many things, so many tests were done, and it wasn't that every single time. And I was so positive that endometriosis was the thing that was causing my issues. And I was so scared. I was in tears every night that I was going to have this surgery and it was not going to be found. So already filled with so many nerves, I wake up from my surgery, and the first thing is I look at the nurse who was with me, and he looks, Mr. Mario, if you're watching, he looked exactly like my ballet teacher, Mr. Mario. It was unbelievable.
Okay.
It was just
So
like,
was that a good thing? Little level of comfort, maybe?
yeah,
or
honestly,
familiarity?
I was like,
Yeah.
I asked him, are you Mr. Mario? And he's like, who is that?
Anesthesia.
I know. It was
Right?
just crazy. So, sorry, off topic, but I was like, did they find the endometriosis? And he's like, I can't tell you that. What do you mean you can't tell me? You know? So I'm just like frustrated. I'm asking for my
We
surgeon.
gotta wait for the reports, and everybody's gotta
Yes,
look at it.
because my
and- yeah.
surgeon, what she did was she took the tissue and she had to look at it under a microscope just to make sure and confirm that it was endometriosis and it wasn't tissue from something else. So we had to wait for that. So I was in the recovery area for quite a while. I don't remember too much, but I was in there for quite a while. My mom
Remember
was
a lot more than I would remember.
I remember really wanting my mom because I was just in so much pain. They ended up having to give me more like pain medication and stuff like that. I was really drowsy, but my mom was there with me, and I fell back asleep, and I woke up, and my mom was finally with me, and I looked over, and I'm in tears, and I'm crying, and I asked my mom, did they find it? She starts crying. They tell me that they did.
So at this
And-
point, this is a good thing.
Absolutely.
I mean, you know, now you know what it is.
Yes,
right? Yeah.
yes. I'm just filled with so much relief.
Yeah.
But also in the back of my mind, I'm worried, what does this
Yeah. What next?
mean?
What next?
Where do I go from here? Because already from all of my research, I know that it is easier for women with endometriosis to have cancer because cancer can hide in the endometriosis tissue.
So it just adds a whole nother layer of
Yes.
fear and
Also, I work with kids. I've worked with kids since I was 12 years old. When you have endometriosis, it is harder for you to get pregnant, carry the pregnancy to full term, and to have, healthy, full kids. And so I've always wanted to have a kid. I was really worried about not being able to have children. And
Right.
that is still a very big fear of mine because I have had meetings with my surgeon to talk about, you know, how do we keep my fertility still there? And there's no 100% guarantee that I'm going to have kids. And that is still something that I'm worried about. And I know that a lot of other women with endometriosis worry about as well.
Sure.
A very big moment for me that I believe that I will always, always remember is when I was still in my hospital bed. I was with my surgeon and she's there here. She's over, like she's standing with me. My mom's on the other side and she tells me that she's sorry. She tells me sorry for not believing me. She tells me sorry that she thought I was too young. She apologizes that I went through this for so long.
Yeah.
And the pain for so long and that nobody was listening and nobody brought this up sooner.
Yeah.
And she tells me that not only did they have to make 3 incisions, they had to make 1 more because they found so much endometriosis.
Wow.
They were just, luckily I didn't have one big pile of the endometriosis where it was just one big cyst. It was little bits everywhere. And so they had to do just like a bunch of removal in one area, a bunch of removal in the other, and in the other area, just to make sure that they fully were able to get all of it. So
this is something that going forward, being a young lady, being a young adult, getting older, you just got to keep an eye on it, or what?
Absolutely. So I ended up having 4 incisions, 2 right above, like, and a little bit closer to my belly button, right above my hip bones, but a little bit lower. I had 1 incision in my belly button. I don't know how they did that.
Yeah, that sounds painful.
I know. And then I had another one right above my belly button, which is the 4th incision that they did.
How do they locate it? Is it based off of your pain? Because you said it can form anywhere, right?
It can form anywhere. They made the incisions based off of my pain, but also based off of that endometriosis is from your menstrual cycle. Essentially, it's kind of built off from
guessing.
there.
I mean, luckily it's laparoscopic, so they're not like
they're pretty much guessing.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had to like lift up my organs to like check underneath and like move everything around just to make sure that they were like, where is this going to be?
I've never had to have a surgery. I've never been under.
Oh, wow.
I had my left adrenal gland taken out.
Yeah, I remember he told me that.
Because they had a cyst on there of like 4.7 centimeter, and they said it was too big to leave on there.
Yeah.
But the thing about it, when they did the CAT scan, it didn't show everything that it needed to show. But when he went in, it had sprayed all over. It attached itself to my spleen, my stomach.
Oh, wow.
And wrapped itself around my aorta. It still got a piece around my aorta that they refused to touch.
Because to touch the aorta.
They refused to touch it.
Wow.
Absolutely.
He said a 35-minute surgery turned into a 4-hour surgery. He said he never pulled so much. You know, he was pulling and cutting. Yeah.
Wow. That's insane.
So he said, don't go fight a bear now because you got one of your left adrenal glands.
Right.
When you got a left adrenal gland missing, when you got one arm missing, one arm is for fear.
Yeah.
You got no fear.
I got no fear.
You got none. Yeah. So it was definitely really interesting. I know that a lot of different women, when they have an exploratory surgery for endometriosis, there's 2 different ways. They have ablation, which is basically just burn the tissue off. And then there's excision, which is just they cut the tissue off. For me, they did ablation just because there was just like bigger, smaller bits just kind of like everywhere. Excision would be mostly for like cysts and stuff like that. So
what was your recovery time from that?
my recovery time was 2 months.
No kidding.
So yeah,
Wow.
it
Okay.
was pretty extensive just because they took so much tissue out, and also like because of my incisions, I couldn't really move very well, and it
Right.
was like in my core, like I know
You're a dancer, so
exactly.
Yeah.
I couldn't dance for 2 months. It set me back. It was like I couldn't cough, I couldn't sneeze, I couldn't laugh. I couldn't like sit up. I was laying in bed flat. It was very hard to like eat, drink, do all of the things, but
got to
luckily,
rebuild it. You know,
absolutely,
build your strength, build your muscles back up.
Yeah,
while
luckily-
healing at the same time.
it was very, very hard just to get my stamina back in dance and get my life slowly back to kind of pre-pain was very difficult.
Yeah, this guy's doing the stamina thing right now.
Yeah. Oh my God. That was dead,
You know how it
I
is.
was dead tired.
No, recovering from surgery is no joke.
Yeah.
It's no joke.
No, it's no joke.
Yeah.
Trust me. I just saw the surgeon a couple of days ago. He said it's going to take you about 6 or 8 months to get back to where you used to be. I'm like, okay. Last week what was it, last couple of weeks? That,
It was a couple weeks ago. I
that
think.
cat woman took me to the emergency room because
Yeah.
I thought I was having shortness of breath, and I was afraid I was going to catch PE on the
Yeah.
lungs. So we went straight to the hospital. I was dead tired. I walked from here to that corner and was dead tired.
Oof.
So I understand what you're saying about.
Yeah. It's hard. Like incision wise, it was 2 months. I still had to go to work and do all of the things, which was really hard, but I was like put on like the lighter stuff for work
Where
just
were you working
because
at then?
I work at my dance studio.
Oh, at the dance studio.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
So it's super like for summer camps. It was during the summer. So like summer camps, I was just like managing like parents, the computers, like doing like little things, taking out the trash, like little chores like that. Kind of just like watching, making sure all of like our assistants were like doing what they needed to be doing.
Sure.
And so incision time, I was still like 2 months, but getting my life back, I'm still working on it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Getting back to where I was so, it's just so difficult. And I see it a lot all the time, how I'm not able to do things that I was normally able to do.
You'll see things that you maybe didn't think about, but now you've tried to do that thing, and all of a sudden it's like, holy crap, I can't do this anymore.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, you know, even like after my surgery, like low-key TMI, but like pooping was really hard just because of like
Never too
them
much.
like moving
You may have a secret I might be missing. So.
yeah, like no,
Speak.
moving my like colon around and getting, because like most of mine was on my colon because I was so constipated.
Sure.
Most of my tissue was on like my colon and everywhere like that, and so just like the incisions in that area, it was very scary and very painful just to like pass a movement.
Yeah.
Just because you never know if that sharp pain in that incision is like it ripping or like whatever.
Scary, right? Scary.
Yeah, and so it was so hard. I couldn't poop for like a while. It was definitely hard.
Which is, it's something that people take for granted. I mean,
I
honestly.
agree.
you know.
Everybody who has a normal bowel movement
If we're being
schedule,
adults here, which rarely we're adults, but we'll be adults right now.
no, everybody who has like a normal bowel movement schedule, I will forever be jealous of.
Yeah.
Forever
I'm
be
there now,
jealous
'cause
of.
I used to poop on command. I could just go, I'm going to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Now I have to think about what I need to eat. Do they have enough sugar in here
Mm-hmm.
to make this soft and make this move or make my stomach cramp?
Exactly.
You know.
And I don't, maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like young ladies, maybe women in general, just struggle with that more than men typically.
I
too.
agree. And I don't know
I don't know
why
if
that
it's like
is.
the birth control and stuff like that. I don't know what it is, but
think
I
it
can
could
tell you
be.
that all the women in my life, 3 daughters and a wife, always had issues. And I'm like, I don't know what your problem is. I'm good. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
know
feel bad for him, though. I feel bad for him.
birth control, I mean, definitely has a ton of side effects, and constipation is a huge one. So maybe that is what it is. But yeah, that's
It's scary when you can't poop.
It is. It's
It is
scary when
so-
when my daughter will tell me, like, it's been like 2 weeks. I'm like, that's not good.
no, I know
Like,
it's
you
so
can't.
crazy.
You can't go. Your body doesn't do that.
know. I
It's
took
not
a-
supposed to do that.
I took an X-ray one time just to, because if you take an X-ray, you can see stool. If you take like an abdominal
Yeah,
X-ray,
yeah.
you can see like all of your stool, like that's like built up. I
Right.
took an X-ray one time and it was like all the way up.
You
It
drop a
was-
couple pant sizes once you get regular.
No, literally, I'm being so serious.
Yeah.
Especially with having a chronic illness like endometriosis,
Mm-hmm.
especially there is something called endobelly, which is when all of your nerves kind of flare up in your stomach because endometriosis is also a nerve chronic illness, so it affects your nerves in your stomach.
Right.
Your stomach, when you have a flare up, which is when your pain gets worse, your stomach will literally just like grow huge. Like
Yeah.
they just call it
Inflammation and- yeah.
huge inflammation. And so like some women describe this as looking and feeling pregnant.
Oh,
Like,
really?
I'm being so serious. I will look in the mirror and I will look like 4 months pregnant. It is
That's crazy.
unbelievable. And so like some days I just can't fit into my jeans.
Right.
Some days like I can't like put a shirt over my stomach, and it messes with your brain. It truly does.
Yeah.
The body dysmorphia you get from
Yeah.
that experience, and also just like being a dancer
Yeah.
in the culture around dance, and you have to be skinny to be a good dancer and
Sure.
things like that
Pageantry.
is so difficult.
Yeah.
It is so difficult. And so, growing up in the dance environment, already like having those insecurities and worries, and then having
That on top of it. and
It's just-
Yeah.
it's crazy. And so especially like pant sizes.
Mhm.
Which photo is that? Yeah. No, I can show the camera this as well. But this was me when I had my endo belly.
Oh, wow.
It was crazy.
Oh, yeah.
It
Here,
was,
let me see that real quick.
yeah.
Put it up here.
This was, I think that was taken in the ER probably. Yeah.
You got it?
Pretty crazy.
That is crazy. And how old are you in this picture?
Probably 15.
15?
This year? This was in May. So
Oh, in May. Wow.
So I had another flare up that we were kind of worried about because I had a low fever.
Mm-hmm.
So we went to the ER again, and that was my stomach. It can get pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it's just, especially with that constipation and like dropping the pant sizes. Like I will walk into one store and I will be like a normal pant size for my age and my height. And then I will walk into that same store a different day and I will be a way different pant size. And it is just, it's crazy.
It's a struggle on many, many levels.
Yeah.
For sure.
And I
Mentally,
recently,
physically.
yeah, I recently interviewed somebody else who has endometriosis, and she had the same experience with, having endobelly and the inflammation.
You interviewed them?
I interviewed them, yes.
Where at? Like
at my house. Like
just at your house? Okay.
Yeah. So we had a Zoom call. Her mom's from Montana, but she's living in Montana. Yeah.
Okay.
So
she's your age or?
No, she's older than me.
Older, okay.
Yeah. So she lives on her own. She's out of college. But my mentor's daughter has endometriosis pretty severely. So she had part of her colon taken out. So I interviewed her on her experience just to share on my social media about, endometriosis and awareness and how endometriosis impacts so many women differently.
Yeah.
Because, for some women, just having endometriosis means only having your pain during your menstrual cycle. For me, having my endometriosis, I have different levels of pain pretty much every single day in my life.
Wow.
And I have had that since I was 14. So it's so unbelievable. And I believe many women with endometriosis can say that also, like, the fatigue that comes with having a chronic illness is also unbelievable.
Yeah.
And so, all of these things that comes with endometriosis and all of these signs and symptoms are so important for not only women, but even like people that are transgender.
I'm listening to you intently as a father. You know what I mean? I mean, like
absolutely.
I said, I've got all girls. I'm a girl dad.
Yeah.
So, excuse me. So I'm listening very intently, thinking back to some of the issues that my daughters have had, and yeah, I might have to just double check some things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, Lil's got issues all the time, man.
Oh, yeah,
stomach bothers her, bloating, pain,
Yes, it's so
she's going to be
crazy.
20 this year.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
crazy.
It's just like not.
So what is the foundation that you're working with? What is it called exactly? I know you said it earlier.
the pageant I'm working with.
No, you're raising, isn't the,
CSI or CC?
My CSI.
CSI, thank
My
you.
CSI, my Community Service Initiative. So
Okay.
that's all me.
That's all you.
That's all me.
Oh,
So
okay,
my Community
okay.
Service Initiative is just endometriosis warriors
It's just
turning
getting
pain into
awareness.
purpose. It's just getting awareness.
Got
so
you. Is there an organization that highlights this?
Yes.
Okay.
So there's the Endometriosis Foundation of America. I worked with them as well. I am certified as an endometriosis educator. So
Wow. Congratulations.
thank you. So I went
Dang, girl.
through. Yeah. No, I went
The
through.
resume just get bigger and bigger.
I thought I was busy.
It was. Anybody can do it, honestly. You can just do it on their website, and it's just like a short, almost like course online that you can go through. And then you have a Zoom call with one of their volunteers there, and then they can just be like, yeah, you passed, and you can be an endometriosis educator, which means
You're
you
just
can
raising
walk.
awareness, talking to people, having interviews, like you said,
Yeah.
Zoom calls, that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
so one of the things that I've been trying to do with my CSI is trying to get into schools to educate the students about endometriosis, signs, symptoms, what's normal for a period, how to educate
Advocate and educate.
advocate and educate for
There you go.
yourself and
You've
the
been hanging out
doctors.
with Hampton too long.
I know, right? It's like coming off on me.
Don't get. We talk that Southern slang here in a minute.
I know, right?
You going to Florida?
I know. Woo. And so, like with school getting out, it's been hard to get into some schools, but working on like trying to teach kids more about endometriosis.
Yeah, well, they
And
don't do a very good job, in my opinion, of educating kids as a whole anymore, like
No.
sex ed.
No.
You know,
it's-
my kids had it, but I've had those talks with my daughters. You got to have those talks as a parent.
Absolutely.
And they're like, they didn't teach me that. I didn't know that. And granted, that's your job as a parent to make sure that they know these
Absolutely.
things. But also, it's like, I mean, I learned that stuff when I had sexual education in school or health, right? Just health class. And
Just health
like,
class.
They don't
Yeah.
really do that
Yeah,
anymore.
we had help. We didn't have sexual education when I went to school.
No, that was a
Wow.
bad word where you grew up in
Yeah.
the South.
Yeah. Like,
They said, you said what? Read that Bible.
Watch Animal Planet. Two monkeys at it.
it's just
I mean, I grew up on a farm. I wasn't far off you. So.
right. Like for those kids who may not have like a parental figure in their life,
Sure.
or
A
who
lot
may
of parents are scared to talk about that kind of stuff.
absolutely,
It's
for
not an easy conversation.
No, it's not. And so when it comes to that, I believe we should have just like more schools talking about this, you
Yeah.
know? And in New York,
Openness is awareness, right?
absolutely. In New York, they just passed a bill talking about how now teachers in school districts can talk to kids about endometriosis.
Oh, really?
And the
They passed a
endometriosis,
bill for that.
that's a bill.
That's crazy.
Isn't that wild?
That is wild.
Yeah. So, as a volunteer,
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on getting into schools just to talk about endometriosis awareness. How to advocate for yourself in the doctor's office is huge, and I feel like a lot.
I agree
once
with that 100%.
we had that conversation
Yep.
of some kids just don't know how to do that, and so I would be teaching kids from my own experiences, and just teaching them like what's normal for a period. Now, some people's concerns are not everybody's going to have endometriosis.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But everybody in their life is going to have somebody who may have endometriosis.
Sure.
Like it affects approximately 1 in 10.
Yeah.
You're going to know somebody.
I can say I'd heard the word before, but I wasn't totally familiar with what it was.
Absolutely.
Never heard it.
Never
Wow.
heard it.
See, and like that's unfortunately that's an issue because
Yeah.
it's so common. It takes 7 to 10 years to get diagnosed.
7 to 10 years?
Yes.
Wow.
I was blessed.
That sounds like a money grab. That sounds like we're going to put you through all these tests first.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And which is what happened to me. But luckily, because my pain was so severe and how it was impacting my life so
Well,
drastically,
yeah, it put you in the ICU.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was able to say, this is what happened and how severe it got. You need to do this test so it doesn't happen again.
Yeah.
But for these women and for these girls who haven't had that severe attack happen on them,
Mm-hmm.
just like, oh, I have pain, they're going to be like, okay, well, that's just part of being a woman. You know, they don't
Yeah.
have the experience of, I've been in the ICU because of this. It can happen again. You know, they're not going to take you as seriously,
Right.
which is really unfortunate. And so it's just like, it just doesn't make sense.
Well, it sounds like you're very passionate about it. I'm very impressed. I mean,
Thank you.
It's unfortunate that I am learning this through you in a sense. I'm grateful that I am and that we
Yeah.
are, but we didn't know about it, and that's unfortunate is what I mean by that. But
Yeah.
I'm very impressed with the knowledge that you have and
Thank
how
you.
passionate you are about it.
Thank you.
I do want to switch off of it just a little bit though.
Absolutely. Go ahead. No, I totally get it. Go ahead.
No, this is great information. It's funny because I thought we were going to come in and just do this quick thing, and now we got a full episode on something that's very important, I think, which is awesome. So I'm going
Yeah.
to release this whole thing.
Yeah.
This is great. I do want you to get your time though for what you're doing, and I get that you're passionate about that. It's amazing. I congratulate you, and I think you
Thank
should
you.
continue doing what
Thank
you're
you
doing
so much.
for sure.
I appreciate that.
but
Let's
let's
talk about those mountains.
let's talk about those mountains.
Let's talk about the mountains.
Yeah. So you are, like I said, currently Miss Olympics teen, correct?
Correct.
Running for, is it running?
In the running, yes.
In the running for Miss Washington teen.
Yes.
What do we need to get you there?
Okay. So the first things first, which is happening right now as we speak, is
Mm-hmm.
People's Choice. So People's Choice is essentially you donate to my spot fund, $1. That equals 1 vote. You donate $20, I get 20 votes. The person who has the most votes or the most donations will go straight to semifinals, which means the judges get to pay a little bit more attention to you as a whole,
Okay.
and pay just a little bit closer and gets to know you
It's
a
kind of
little bit.
raising you in the standards a
Exactly.
little bit. Okay.
Exactly.
And
And
what's the money going towards?
it's just going towards the Miss Washington like Foundation. So the
Just
program,
curious.
yeah, no, you're all good. The program that I'm in offers back scholarships to the women who compete.
Oh,
So
okay. Very cool.
like I was top ad sales. I raised $4,950.
Nice. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Where does one make the donation? Let them know that. How many days you got until?
Until Tuesday.
Till Tuesday.
Until Tuesday. I have this with me. You can scan this QR code here, and it will take you straight to my spot fund.
Okay.
And I have been, because I live in Des Moines, I'm a local in Des Moines. I've been passing these out to people in my community. I have been going to like restaurants and just like salons and everywhere in my community, putting flyers on walls and stuff like that. Putting
been
these
to
in
my
bathrooms. I know. Well, let's do that next. Let's do that next.
He doesn't even open until Thursday. No, you opening this Thursday?
Yeah, I'm opening Thursday.
Okay. It'll be gone by then, bro. It's Tuesday. Tuesday's the deadline.
Well, we just need to put
Put it in there anyways.
Put it in there. Put it on Creole Soul.
We'll put it on the website.
Well,
There you
if
go.
I win Miss Washington, I have to raise money for Miss America.
Okay.
So we can do that too.
All right.
Okay.
Exactly. Okay. So yeah, People's Choice is the biggest right now. But
So make sure Mom just pointed out that tax deductible, correct?
it is
All right.
tax
Good to know.
deductible.
Good to know.
So everybody knows that.
So give those big donations, you know,
Absolutely.
big money, write it off.
Yes,
I could have
yes.
used some of that this year.
Yeah, no. So all of the money donated goes back to all of the amazing women with big dreams in the Pageant Foundation. So like for me, who wants to be a nurse because of the medical journey I've been through
I
and
was
the
going to ask where
nurses,
you're. Yep. Okay.
the nurses who impacted my life, I want to become a nurse and help those people who went through what I went through. And so nursing school is quite expensive.
Yeah.
And college is quite expensive.
Yes, it is.
And so all of these girls who are participating are going to be getting back money for, via scholarships
Nice.
with big dreams like mine. So
All right, very
it's
cool.
pretty amazing, you
Yeah,
know?
that's awesome. So Tuesday's the deadline to get you some funds raised and some
Yes.
votes.
Yes, I leave for check-in.
I'm sorry. 5 p.m. Tuesday.
5 p.m.
Okay, that was
Tuesday.
my next question. What time? What's cutoff time?
Yeah, 5 p.m.
5 p.m. What are we, Pacific?
Pacific Standard Time. I think we're Pacific
Yeah, we're Pacific.
Daylight Savings Time.
I know there's like Pacific
Googled
Standard,
it.
Pacific Daylight.
This thing got so many things.
No,
going on.
I know. I Googled it the other day because I was setting up a Zoom meeting with somebody, and
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute, there's Pacific Daylight Savings Time? I did not even know that.
And I will say that we have viewers in England and Australia. And
Wow.
I know. I'm pretty impressed myself. When
See,
I look
my
at our
dad's-
metrics, I'm like, there's people in other countries watching this.
That's pretty impressive. See, my dad's from Australia, so hello, people over
Okay.
there.
There you
Oh,
go.
your dad from
Good day.
Australia? Which part of
I
Australia?
know, right?
Which part of Australia?
I don't know.
Camp spent how many years?
I was
Australia?
over in Australia playing ball for 5 years. Adelaide.
Wow. My grandma, she went down there and had my dad and my aunt. And
Okay.
then they moved back to America in Washington.
All right.
Perth.
Perth.
Yeah, my dad was born in Perth and he lived in what? Brisbane?
Brisbane? Yeah, I got friends in Brisbane. Yeah.
Ooh, hello friends.
Maybe that's who's watching us.
Maybe.
Yeah, I need to shoot on over there. I'm telling you, I really need to.
Yeah,
go.
I know you really do need to shoot over there.
Take me with you. I want to go to Australia so bad.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
I know.
I've heard.
I was a flight attendant, and one of my flight attendant friends lives over there
Oh,
in Brisbane.
wow.
Yeah,
That's really
so
cool.
She's like, come over anytime you want to. I'm like, all right.
You're that tall and you're a flight attendant? That's
That
pretty
all
crazy.
the time. This guy's got a very, very colorful background.
No, I
The
believe
stories
it.
never stop. The
Yeah.
stories
I
never
believe
stop.
it. Yeah,
But
absolutely.
Australia is beautiful.
Yeah, I've heard. Yeah, I really want to go.
So after, hopefully, we wrangle in Miss Washington teen. What comes next? Miss America, you said?
Miss America.
So then, what's the ages for Miss America?
Miss America's the same. So
Okay.
Miss America's teen would be 13.
So still teen. I'm making sure.
Still teen. Yes,
Okay.
yes. Still teen
So
would
is
be.
that like a year away, or like do you wear this crown for X amount of time before you can compete, or is it just an immediate gotta go?
So I don't believe they've announced the Miss America September.
September.
It's into
Wow.
September.
So that quickly.
Yes.
Wow.
It's a quick
Okay.
turnaround.
Yeah,
So
I guess.
yeah, I've had I've had this title for a couple months, and then if I do win Miss Washington, I'll have it for a couple months, compete for Miss America, and then if I do or do not win Miss America, then I will either switch to Miss America title, or I will just still be Miss Washington's teen.
Okay. Okay.
Well, as long
Yeah.
as you hold your belt, that's all.
Yeah.
Yes. So
Well,
very-
I can tell you that I did not know that this podcast was going to go the way that it went.
I know.
I'm very
it just-
impressed.
yeah, I have a very extensive little journey here.
No,
so
it's great.
Thank you
It-
for listening.
Yeah, of course. And
Yeah.
knowledge. I love knowledge. That's one reason why we do what we do.
Knowledge is power.
I love having good conversations. I love we both, Hamp, what do you say, Hamp? If you don't learn something new every day.
If you don't learn something every day, you got a problem.
Yes,
Yes,
exactly.
absolutely.
So we love to talk to people and learn things that we didn't know, you know, and I just learned from a 16-year-old girl a whole lot of medical stuff that I didn't know before.
And trust me, I've dealt with a lot of 16-year-old girls, okay?
Yeah, he used to be
17.
basketball coach.
I used to be a basketball coach in Robert Louis Stevenson in Pebble Beach, California.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
You've
I
dealt with a
understand.
lot. Yeah.
So I understand about the period.
I'm glad nothing here was TMI.
No. Like I
No.
said, 3 daughters here.
Yep.
knows all about
I
it.
had 12 girls on the team. And
Wow.
From 14 to 17.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they were pretty close with you too.
Yeah, it was real close. Yeah. So,
Still talk to some of them today,
yeah, I
right?
still talked to about 3 of them.
That's so great. Yeah.
They're 40 years old now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How old are you?
61.
I'm just talking
Y'all
smack.
looking.
There you go.
I got to shave all this off, and yeah, but dress up, I'm okay. You
I know. I
No,
tried to get
dress
you to
up.
keep that beard. I
No,
like the white beard, man.
No.
I'm just jealous because I
He's
can't
just
grow a
gotta
real
stay
one.
young.
Yeah, you can't grow that. That's why.
That's it. That's it. Vicariously living through you.
I told him I'd cut it off and put some glue in his face and throw it on there.
Exactly. I know. My dad is bald too, so I always joke about like cutting off my hair and giving it to him.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
All right. Amara, anything else you want to push? I mean, we're over an hour right now. I think you
Oh,
did great.
wow.
I know.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
flies. It flies.
That went so quick.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, please
Yeah,
push
so-
all of your socials, put all your information out there
Yes.
where everyone can find you, please.
Yes. Okay. So my big, like Instagram where everybody can find everything is just Miss Olympics Teen Wa. No capitals, no like underscores, no anything. It's just Miss Olympics Teen Wa,
Okay.
which
Got
is
it.
WA, Washington.
Yep. Got it. And that's everywhere.
Yeah.
Instagram,
Just Instagram.
just
Just
Instagram.
Instagram.
Just
Okay.
Instagram. My Facebook is just Amar Drazkowski, and then I just post a lot about, like what I do in my life and
Yeah.
like what Miss Olympics is. And
So is there an actual like competition for all this? Like where you're going to do the gown and the talent? Where and when does that take place?
Olympia. So
Okay.
that I'm going to be leaving in 4 days to check in. And so
Okay.
we have a couple of rehearsals, a couple of the things, and then that is all in Olympia.
Are you
Okay.
excited?
I'm very excited. I'm very nervous. I'm
Yeah.
very nervous just because this will be just my second time on stage.
Mm.
You know, it's just kind of crazy.
Is there
think about.
a big spectators? Is there a lot of people that just come to view everything? I've never been to one, so I don't know.
Yeah, no, there's
I
definitely.
mean, I've seen Miss America on TV, but that's about it.
Yeah,
me
no.
too, yeah.
A lot of other like pageant people will come to these like stuff just to like scope, just to look,
Yeah.
just to find girls, just to, it's almost like when, just like, I don't know.
Like scouting for
Yes,
sports.
exactly. That's what
Right.
I'm looking for. Scouting for sports. It's
Right.
just like that. People will come to just like states and watch the pageants and scout for girls and just do what they need to do. And yeah,
Very cool.
a lot of our sponsors will be there. So,
You want to call some of them out? Sponsors?
well, a big one is my dance studio. I love
Okay.
my dance studio, Children's Dance Theater. They sponsor me as a whole. They've given a lot of money to me, and they are just truly amazing, and I love them for all they do. They donate their time and their space to me for me to like rehearse in, and it's amazing.
Awesome.
My mom's company, Tote Maritime, Alaska. It is amazing. She's in Tacoma.
Okay.
And
And what
there's
does mom do?
mom's in a financial analysis.
Oh,
for
okay.
totes.
All right. Very
yes,
good.
Yes. So they have a port in Jacksonville, Florida, and there's
Okay.
a port in Alaska and Tacoma, and they just like ship stuff places.
Gotcha. All right. A lot of that going on out here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Coming from
But-
the desert, that's new to me, but yeah.
yeah, Tote Maritime has
Tote
done
Maritime.
a lot for me as well. So
Very
they
cool.
have again sponsored me. I've gone to the company during like Kids Day and stuff like that just to talk about, because I go to Maritime High School as well. So I've gone to talk about like STEM and school and the maritime industry. So
Very cool.
they offer me a lot of experience. So I'm very
Awesome,
lucky for that.
Hamp, you
Good.
got anything
Nope.
else?
Well, good. It was great listening to you, learning everything, constipation.
Yeah.
For all the
Apple
constipation
juice,
tips, I've
ew.
got you.
Yeah, I wrote them down. Trust me, they're here. Thank you for coming.
Yeah,
Thanks for
absolutely.
coming.
Thank you
This
guys
is
for
very,
having me.
Very informative, and I will say you're a very impressive young lady.
Thank you so much. I definitely was a little bit nervous in the beginning, but
Mom and Dad should be very proud.
thank you. We've gotten here, so thank you so much for
All right,
everything.
guys, we're gonna wrap it up, and good luck. Okay.
Thank you
All
so
right,
much.
we're gonna be pushing for you. We'll get this
Okay.
stuff out as quickly as we can. People find her, donate money. Let's get her there. All
On
right.
Instagram.
We got this, guys.
On Instagram. That's right. All right. Oh, and by the way, send me some pictures of that, and I will
Absolutely.
put it up during the episode too, so people can see
Absolutely.
where to go.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks a
Okay.
lot. Stick
Thank
Lounge
you.
Podcast.
Bye.
Lights dim, it's game time. Interview sharp, cut through like a shank line. Stick lounge, stories unfold, real and raw. From hustlers to dreamers, breaking laws with a claw. Microphone warriors, capturing life's conflicts. Sitting across legends, tales flick like black picks. Drop bars, not mics, knowledge, it rains. From the streets to the beats in every vein. Stick lounge podcast, tales heavy with the weight.